Hello, this is Keith with the Trombone Shop at Schmidt Music. You know, I realized the other day that it had been a while since I had done a walk through the shop here. It's now the middle of September here, and for us, just as a music store, of course, we have a lot of our beginning band and orchestra students getting set up with all of their new instruments. But you know, of course, we have a lot of stuff coming in the intermediate, professional, custom line of instruments, and of course, all of the accessories and everything. I realized it'd been a little bit since I'd gone through the shop and kind of, look through, what do we have in right now, whether it's new, whether it's used. And so I thought I'd take a few spare moments in amongst all the craziness to kind of go through and kind of show off a few of the new arrivals that we've had in the shop as of late. All right, so first off, going to walk over to some of our used instruments. Quick side note here, of course, we make sure that we try to keep in a strong selection of our lubricants. One of the big issues that we've had, a lot of music retailers and musicians have had over the last couple of years has been the difficulty in getting in the Hetman series of oils. For those of you who have experienced the Hetman, of course, they're wonderful synthetic oils, well known for having a wide variety of different weights, thickness of oils, whether we're talking valve oil, rotor oils, bearing and linkage, tuning slide greases, etc. And for a variety of reasons, the Hetman have been next to impossible to get a hold of. So we've been kind of transitioning to some other options. The ones that we've really been liking as of late have been from Monster Oil. So Monster Oil, of course, has been around for a number of years as well here. They offer primarily synthetic oils. They do have a couple of kind of more, pure petroleum oils like the Doc's Juice for those, valve players. But what we've really been liking, and actually what the Monster Oil folks have really been liking, have been their Eco Pro oils. So these are a plant-based oil, and we've been really, really liking the performance of them. And they've got a variety of different weights and thicknesses with your valve oils, with your rotor oil, bearing and linkage. So some really nice options happening with that we've been really enjoying in the shop here. So, of course, we've got our selection over here of all of our kind of used inventory. So including, this is a recent arrival here, basically a like new S.E. Shire's Blair Bollinger custom bass here. So the Bollinger has been one of the go-to, kind of custom level artist basses over the last handful of years. Whether or not, one chooses to use the Bollinger tuning system, they're just overall wonderful playing instruments, whether they're in the classic configuration like this or his travel version with cut bell. Both of them have been wonderful playing trombones. And so we just had this, like I said, come in basically like new, just purchased over the summer here at ITF, took it in on a trade-in. And so we've got that in right now. Got a couple really great used large bores right now, a classic late 90s Bach 42, a later 1960s Elkhart era 88H, couple really nice plain Bach 36s for you medium bore players, and some really cool vintage small bore tenors here. So right now we've seen a lot of the quote-unquote newer vintage small bore tenors, like say from the 40s through to the 60s, have been moving in and out of the shop pretty quick, but we've got some really neat, unique classic vintage horns here. So whether like this 1929 here Con 2H here, which of course the 2H was one of the original designs in the Con library here, or the 40H, the ballroom model with tuning and slide. We actually just did a video with this, I think it was last month. Very, very neat playing horn. This, or like the Olds M series here, 1921, one of the oldest, if not the oldest, Olds trombone that we've had in, also with tuning and slide. We talked about, actually we did a video on tuning and slide as well. They're very unique playing with the whole tuning slide concept, and these are, they play like much more modern horns than you'd expect given their age. So we've got those here, and then kind of coming across here, got a little bit of a feature section here with a couple of Getzen trombones here, specifically the 4047 ET. This is one of their custom reserve series large bore tenors. These have been incredibly popular in the shop right now. Or we have the 1047 FN. This is their kind of reimagined, reconfigured Eterna, a large bore tenor trombone. They're designed to be kind of intermediate to entry level professional, great playing horn. And then we have, try to get out of the light here, our very unique Miraphone 670 B flat contra bass trombone here. So this instrument dates from, as best we can tell, late 1960s, and this is actually on consignment with us from the Minnesota Orchestra. They've had it in their collection for quite a number of years here, and they'd like to find it a new home. So we are trying to give them a hand with all of that. And then working our way down the road, we've talked about a lot of the bass trombones. I've got kind of the full selection of the S.E. Shire's Q series bass trombones here, whether the axial flow or the rotor versions, and a couple of the Eastman 848s or 849. So we've got the 848 in yellow brass rotor, or the 849. This is their axial flow version. This one has a gold brass bell. Really, again, for somebody looking for that really great entry-level bass trombone, they have kind of a budget in mind, but they're looking for a really great, again, modern playing bass, with a lot of, longevity to it. The Eastmans have been proving really good, but I definitely don't want to make sure I forget to take a look over here. We actually literally had this instrument arrive today. This is our latest Edwards B502-I. Of course, the Edwards 502, this has become a mainstay in the custom bass trombone world here. This particular one has a dual bore hand slide. The last one we had had a single bore. And so I really like that horn. The dual bore brings definitely a different character, a different flavor to the response, the sound profile. It's something I'm going to need to spend some more time with, but of course it has all of the Edwards quality, consistency, and just nuance in the playing that they are renowned for here. So coming through here, we've got, Greenho, the GC4, classic Con Greenho style there with tuning and slide. A couple of the Con 88Hs, couple variations. The 88H still remains really, really popular in the shop for a variety of players. The HNV here, of course, this is the new vintage that we've talked quite a bit about. This brings, for a lot of players, this brings a different kind of level of nuance to the Con family, which I think is really, really great. So we've got those here. Kind of coming along, we've got our Shire's Q series tenors here. I've got the classic, the TBQ 30 rotor design here. We've got axial flow, and we just got our latest order of the TBQ Alessi instruments here. So we've talked about the Q series Alessis before. They don't play for everybody, but for those folks that they do, they just bring a level of just nuance and projection, stability and control, to them. I haven't had these in for a little bit, and when I pulled this one out to give it a play test, I immediately said, oh yes, I remember why I like these so much here. So we've got our Q series coming along. Some of our classic Bach Strads here. I'm actually a little bit light on the Bachs right now. We have a few more coming in. With that right now, of course, I've got a classic 42 BO yellow brass bell. I've got a gold brass bell, 42 BOG coming in. I've got one of their 42As with the Hagman. And then, of course, we've got the fantastic AF with the infinity valve that so many players have liked over the years. I have one of their Artisans in, one of their A47s. This is in kind of a very traditional configuration with their Artisan valve, the Artisan bell in yellow brass, their A47 hand slide. Again, for those folks who have not played the Artisans, a little bit different level of nuance to it. Kind of across the middle here, we've got a little bit of a display of our Yamaha trombones right now. So whether it's our YBL 835G bass trombone here, the 835s, I continue to really like. I think they've been a really nice addition. They brought some really nice stuff to the table from its predecessor, the 830. I've got a couple of the classic Xenos here right now. We've got one of their Yamaha Allegros. We definitely don't want to forget our intermediate level instruments. So often with those intermediate level instruments, whether we're talking Yamaha or we've got options from Eastman, from Jupiter, from Lake City, which is our own project. Again, a lot of the idea behind our intermediate level instruments is not just that they are, a little less expensive. They're, maybe a little bit more approachable in price, but they're designed with different players, different experience in mind. And so often we find, especially when we have growing players come into the shop, if budget's not a consideration, a lot of times still the intermediate level instruments are the right fit for them because they're designed to meet them where they are in their musical journey. So we've got a really good selection of some intermediate level instruments, both large bore and at least one medium bore, the Eastman, the 428 MG here, they're medium bore, kind of entry level intermediate trombone with F attachment. This is one of my personal favorites in this category. Kind of value for money. I think they play wonderfully, and they're really great instruments for that player who is, they're looking for a large bore kind of experience. They have kind of a depth of sound, a response they're looking for, but maybe the large bore tenors are just a little bit too much right now. Really great option. Coming back to the Yamahas here, I want to make sure I highlight a couple of recent arrivals in the shop. I've done a video on this one here. This is the YSL 8820D, so standard Xeno setup with the cut bell. I've talked about the cut bell many times before here. I continue to really like what the cut bells do with the Yamahas, and our most recent Yamaha arrival, their 8820R. So this is their orchestral model here, designed to be much a more open, broad playing instrument with a lot of stability to it. And this particular one has had Yamaha's cryo treatment done to it. So if you're not familiar with this, it's the idea that if we take an instrument and we slowly bring it down to 100, 200 degrees Fahrenheit below zero, it's the idea that it goes through and it releases stresses. It changes how the material resonates kind of when you go through this freezing and kind of re-warming process. And Yamaha is relatively unique in that they offer to select dealers the ability to take any number of their different standard models and put them through the cryo treatment process. I've liked the OR model, the orchestral model, for quite a number of years as it is. I think it really brings a nice variation to the standard Xeno setup. For a lot of folks, the standard Xenos play wonderfully, but they are a little bit efficient. For some folks, they're a little bit compact, a little bit tight. They maybe don't have quite the open end of resonance that we're looking for when we come over to the OR setup, which just has a wider hand slide, more of a Bach-Shires style hand slide, wider crook on the bottom, reverse main and F side tuning slides, a little bit different bell setup. All of it's designed, again, to be a much more open instrument. The OR brings a real different character to it. And when we apply that cryo treatment, which I tend to find opens up the resonance even a little bit more, gives it a little bit more depth of sound, I think it's a really, really wonderful combination here. So coming over, we don't want to ignore our smaller instruments. So we've got a good selection right now of our new small bore tenors, including both the Butler C5 and C6 right now. I've done a couple of videos on both of these over the last month or so here. I've talked about what I really like about them, and we just by happenstance happen to have both the C5 and C6 in right now. We've got the, I'm not going to say classic, I don't think it's quite that old, but it's a classic to me, the XO Brass 1634 John Fedchuk model, the 508 version, one of my personal favorites. The Bach LT16M. Of course, the LT16M, this is the kind of original design they put together with the great Bill Watrous here, a straight 509 bore, lightweight hand slide, lightweight setup overall. It's an instrument that brings a real balance and color. It can bring some depth and darkness to it, but still really responsive. I know it's a favorite of a number of players we have in the St. Paul, Minneapolis metro area here, and a couple of really great Kings as well. A King 3BG that we just had arrive in the last month or so here, classic 508 setup with the gold brass bell, and the King 2BL here. So this is the original Jigs Wiggum model here. So it is a straight 490 bore. Again, super lightweight hand slide here, no counterweight on it. And again, it's a much more efficient instrument, but what really amazes me about it is you could still get some real darkness out of it, some real, some depth of sound, if you come at it the right way. And of course, we have a couple of altos as well. We've got the S.E. Shires TBQ Alessi alto, and our Lake City alto trombones here, both of which have been really, really popular. So just a little to walk through the shop here, some of what we've had come in right now. And of course, we try to keep everything updated here. We have stuff coming through all of the time, whether it's new or used. So of course, as always, if you have any questions, if you saw a particular instrument, like what's going on with that, like I haven't heard about this model, whatever, feel free to, obviously leave some comments in there. I'd love to talk about that. Of course, we invite you, if you have anything particular you're looking for at any point, we always invite you to check out our website, www.schmidtmusic.com. Actually just did kind of a full redesign that we're working on finishing up, and really trying to make sure that we're keeping kind of a really, really accurate list of kind of what we have in the shop right now. So we'll continue to work on all of that, but you can always reach out to us, and of course beyond YouTube here, and where we are at. You can subscribe to the channel, you can hit that notification button, you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Instagram. So really appreciate the time. As always, thanks for watching.